Robin Campbell, it's good to have you back at noise11.com.
Welcome back. Good to be here.
Yeah. Now, last time we spoke, just after that, we had the bad news about your brother Duncan and his stroke. How's he getting on?
He's really well, actually. Surprisingly well. You would not, if you met him, you wouldn't think he'd ever had a stroke. Physically, there are no signs whatsoever, you know. Mentally, he doesn't have the confidence he used to have, which is why he decided, you know, he didn't want to perform anymore. But he's remarkably well. He's doing so well. In fact, he beat me at snooker only a week ago.
Was there a wager on that?
No, because he's getting plenty of practice every week. I don't get enough practice anymore. But the fact that he's actually, you know, his coordination, his physical coordination is that good that he can still play the game.
Oh, that's fantastic. Send him our regards out of Melbourne, Australia.
Will do.
And the new guy in the band, Matt Doyle. You know, Matt comes with a lot of reputation and a lot of history. Was there much of an audition process that went on with that, or was that already predetermined that Matt would be the new guy?
Well, yeah, the audition had already taken place, really, because they toured with us for a couple of years. They did, I don't know, 80 shows or something with us over several European and British tours, you know. Kyoko, this is the band that Matt was in beforehand. They supported us on a lot of dates. So we knew how good he was, but also I'd recorded with him in the studio on the last album we did, Bigger Bag of Rhythm, which was a collaboration album. And we collaborated on one of the tracks with Kyoko, well, with Matt, singing one of his songs over our backing track, you know. And I just remember thinking at the time how good he sounded with the band, you know, and how natural it was, and how good a singer he was. And I just thought, ironically, I thought if ever Duncan decided he didn't want to tour anymore, you know, then this is the kid I'd come for. And then, ridiculously, Duncan suffered the stroke months later, you know, and yeah, so I immediately went to Matt and offered him the job, which scared the bejesus out of him. And but he, you know, he jumped at it, really. He something he really wanted to do. And yeah, I mean, he's grown up a fan of the band. He's been singing our songs since he was a child, sitting on the back seat of his dad's car, you know. So he's grown up on our music. And as I say, you know, the one thing when we're touring, the one thing we keep hearing is how good he sounds singing the old UB40 tunes, you know. So yeah, that's yeah, it was pretty much decided. When I went to the other guys about Matt, they all agreed. There was no discussion. They all said, yeah, great idea, you know. So because we knew how good he sounded with us already on record. So, you know, it was a done deal.
And they lived happily ever after.
Well, it's gotten better and better because first of all, he was just singing, you know, our material and learning to fit in with the band, etc., and gaining confidence. But now he's bringing lyrics to the band. You know, on this new album, there are 2 songs written by Matt on the new album. So yeah, he's full of ideas. He's full of youth and vigor and enthusiasm, and he's just such a good fit. And he's, of course, reinvigorated us, you know, which is a good thing, seeing how old we are.
Well, I was working on radio in 1987 when the Sergeant Pepper album had its 20th anniversary. And of course, because of the opening line of Sergeant Pepper, it was 20 years ago today. I remember
Yeah.
being on radio playing that on the day, 20 years to the date that the song was name checking, thinking, wow, 20 years ago, that was so long ago. And here we are discussing UB45, 45 years since that first couple of songs in the album came out. The 45 years since UB40 started doesn't feel as long as those 20 years of the It's 20 Years to Go Today for the Beatles.
Well, I don't know. It feels like a lifetime to me, but it's also it's flown by. It seems like it was only a few years ago that we started, but obviously I know it isn't, and I know it's been a whole lifetime. But yeah, it's shot by.
1 February 1980, that was the release date for King and Food for Thought. Do you recall that day, when the day the first single was released?
Yeah, we were on tour with the Pretenders. We already had a record deal. We were recording the first album, but we didn't have a single out or anything. But Chrissy Hind of the Pretenders, she came to see us playing a club in London and offered us a support on her UK tour. She had a #1 album and a #1 single and a sold-out British tour. So we went from playing pubs and clubs overnight to playing, venues much larger, and to really appreciative audiences. Her audience loved us. So, it went down really well. We released a single while we were on that tour, that single. And by the time we finished the tour in March, the single was #4 in the charts. And we were on top of the pops on the BBC, so it was just such a leapfrog, such a giant springboard to our career that Chrissy gave us.
And obviously that's where that lifelong collaboration and friendship started.
Yeah, we do still see each other, and we have constantly, kept in touch. And she's a lovely lady. And, she was our guardian angel at the beginning. We called her Auntie Chrissy, which she hated. Yeah, so, and then of course she kept saying that we should do a record, and we did I Got You, Babe, of course, which was #1 in various places. And then we did another one, Breakfast in Bed, soon after that. That was another hit, So yeah, we've had a lot of fun with Chrissy over the years, and we've turned it around. And in later years, the Pretenders supported us on some tours. So, we've kept in touch over the years.
Right from the start, this band was quite political. King and Food for Thought both had very serious messages. King about Martin Luther King, Food for Thought about genocide in Cambodia. So, this was a band with a message right from day one. It must have sort of been at loggerheads with you then, that those songs then became hits and would get played in discos, for instance. And there's this really important message up there, while at exactly the same time people are dancing to it.
Yeah, but you can't get upset about that, because we're a music band, we're a dance band. We make dance music, and we expect people to dance and have a party when they come to our shows. We don't want them all standing on soapboxes and shouting political slogans. It's about having a party. It's about escapism and enjoying yourself, So when it comes to writing your own lyrics, especially at the beginning, it was important to us to write about the things that we were passionate about, or things that we were angry about, So, yeah, that always made sense to us, but we never, ever gotten upset because people aren't listening necessarily, Lots of people are listening, and lots of people, love the lyrics. But the number of times I've had people on social media saying, "Why don't you leave politics out of your music, and just concentrate on the music?" And they're missing the point. The point is, you got to say what you got to say, and if if something's important to you and you've got the platform, then use it, you know, and we always have done and always will do. We still, this album now, this new album still has political content, and it always will have, you know. We've done what I think this is our 23rd studio album, and only we've done 4 albums of cover versions, which we consider like a pop commercial albums because they're not our lyrics. But the other 19 studio albums contain things that still contain the things that we're passionate about, you know. But what we're most passionate about in the band, as a band, is making music, and making music that people love. Well, firstly, making music that we love and hoping that everyone else loves it too.
Absolutely. Well, I guess, you know, 1980, when those 2 singles started, the Signing Off album came along, we're sort of in between. You had Sex Pistols and Clash and the Jam on one side, and the new romantic thing, Culture Club, Spandau Ballet, Duran Duran, hadn't started yet. Were you sort of wedged in between, you know, one thing that was moving away and something that was about to come?
Well, I think we very much came along during the punk thing. I think that punk fans, for some reason, were very much into reggae anyway. But we were carried along on the shirt tails of the two-tone thing. You know, the whole two-tone movement was multiracial, ska, you know, revivalist ska, reworkings of Prince Buster tunes and things like that, you know, as well as their own stuff as well. And yeah, we were, I think that opened up doors for us. The fact that punk was a kind of a do-it-yourself and anybody could form a band, so that opened doors. And then the Selector thing happened, not Selector, sorry, two-tone thing happened, you know, with the specials, etc. And you know, that opened up the doors again, and it made our music kind of current, you know, even though we weren't anything to do with two-tone, and we weren't playing ska. We were a reggae band, you know, and that was why we refused to join two-tone, even though they invited us. And Jerry Dammers said, you know, just release 1 single on two-tone, it will guarantee you a hit. But we said no, because we didn't want to be seen as part of two-tone, even though it very much helped us along the way.
The new album features a cover of Brenton Wood's Gimme Some Kind of Sign, as you call it. Are you familiar with the Peter Andre version that was the hit in Australia? That was probably Peter's first. Oh, that face was priceless. That face was priceless. But Peter Andre had a hit with it like 30 years ago. I can't believe Peter Andre's that old that he had a hit 30 years ago. But that was a big song.
Yes,
It's a great song.
I was aware of it, but you know, I still have the 7-inch vinyl of Brenton Wood's version.
Yeah.
You know, because I'm that old. But I loved the Brenton Woods version. And when talking about the Labour of Love series, when we first talked about compiling doing the first Labour of Love, I compiled a list of songs that I thought we could cover, because I'm the sort of audiophile anorak in the band, you know, and the oldest, of course. So I had a record collection, etc. So I compiled a list of songs that I thought we could cover and do good jobs of, and Brenton Wood's song was one of them. Yeah, and it's called Gimme Some
Sign.
It's called Gimme Little Sign. His is.
Oh, his version. Okay.
He never actually says Gimme Little Sign at any point, does he? So why it's called that, I don't know. But we called it Gimme Some Kind of Sign because that's what you sing. I always loved that track, and it was on my list for years and never got done. And then Matt Doyle, who is our new lead vocalist, say new, he's been with us for 3 years now, but he came to me and said, I'd love to do a cover of this song. Do you know it? And he played me the Brenton Woods tune. And I was amazed, and I said, "How the hell do you know that? It was recorded 20 years before you were born. You know, how can you possibly know that tune?" And he said, "I heard it on YouTube, and I love it." And I said, "Well, that's been on my list of songs to cover for the last 40 years." So it kind of felt like it was karma, you know. It was a bit of fate there. The fact that he brought it to me and I already had it on a list was so. Yeah, I just thought we got to do it.
Is there a Labour of Love 5 in you then? If Matt's into that sort of stuff, you could squeeze out a fifth.
I'd love to do one. I really do love doing that because you're paying an homage to the people that you grew up on, you know, the people that made you adore the music in the first place. I love recording the songs of my heroes, so why not, you know? Yeah, I'd love to do another one. I could always do a number 5 with it. I don't take much encouragement to do that, you know.
And, you know, I guess you don't really have to think too much about, you know, the seriousness of the lyrics. You know, if we go back to that very first one, Red, Red Wine came along. That was such a huge hit for you guys in Australia. And it probably catapulted Neil Diamond's career a bit too, because he was sort of, you know, not the flavour of the month on the charts at that time. But you took a Neil Diamond song and you made him cool again on Top 40 radio at that point.
Yeah, he even started doing a sort of cod reggae version of it in his concerts, which, you know, amused me. But yeah, it was, I mean, you know, we had no idea that that was a Neil Diamond song. When we covered it, it was on my list as a song by a guy called Tony Tribe. And that was a 1969 reggae recording. And that was the only version I knew of the song. Although I'd heard another version, I can't remember who it was, but I heard like an R&B version. I can't think who the artist is, but there was an R&B version by somebody. And yeah, I knew that one too. But the song, the version I loved was Tony Tribe's version. And I had absolutely no idea until we'd recorded it, and for publishing reasons, you find out, you know, it said N Diamond, and we were going, it can't be, really? And, you know, I mean, somebody suggested it was some Negus Diamond or somebody, you know, and then we discovered it actually was Neil Diamond. Although I have been told by Rolling Stone magazine, by a journalist who works for Rolling Stone magazine, many moons ago, he told me that Neil Diamond actually bought the song. It was out of copyright, and he was searching through old out of copyright songs, and he found this one song that was an ancient 19th century temperance song. Wow. And he apparently bought the rights and rewrote it and turned it into a ballad and then recorded it for himself. But he doesn't tell anybody about that. He still calls it his song. And I guess, you know, if you own it, it is your song.
Well, I guess if he paid for it fair and square. I guess you're going to tell me that when you recorded Holly Holly for the Labour of Love 3, you didn't know that was a Neil Diamond song either.
I did by that time, yeah. But again, we were covering a reggae version, you know, because again, it was, I mean, I did know the Neil Diamond version of that because that was a hit. Neil Diamond had a hit with Holly Holy. He didn't have a hit with Red Red Wine.
Yeah.
When he brought that out in the 60s, I never heard it. It was it may have had mild success in America, but that never transferred to the UK. You know, I don't ever remember hearing it. But yeah, Holly Holy, I knew as a Neil Diamond song for sure. But as far as I was concerned, we were covering the original, the reggae version.
Cherry O Baby seems a much more obvious UB40 song to cover. Didn't seem to me such an obvious song for the Rolling Stones to cover. Did you look at their version on Black and Blue?
Very strange, yeah. But of course, they were into reggae. They got turned on, well, especially Keith Richards. You know, they got turned onto reggae. And Keith Richards spent a lot of time in the Caribbean, and he loved his reggae music. So I think he probably took that tune to the other guys and said, we could do a great version of this, you know. But I'm not sure their version was great. I don't think great is the word I'd use for that. I love the Eric Donaldson original, and yeah, and he wrote it. And again, he that was the first time he got proper recompense for the song. I don't know if he ever got paid for the Stones version, but we actually put him down as the writer and made sure that he got the royalties. You know,
why hasn't there ever been a Robin Campbell solo album?
Because I don't feel the need, don't feel an urge to do a solo. I love being in a band, you know. I love what being in a band means. And I love the fact that I can rely on the other guys to do their part. We are the sum of our parts, you know. And I'm pretty sure if I did a solo album, it wouldn't be the same. It certainly wouldn't be the same, but it probably wouldn't be as good. I don't have a yearning to do that, you know. As long as I've got the other guys around me, as far as I'm concerned, the guys I'm in a band with are great musicians, you know, and together we make a great sound that's served us very well for 45 years. Why would I rock that boat, you know? Why would I mess that up? As far as I'm concerned, every time I write a lyric and I bring it to the guys, the end result is better than I would have done on my own, you know. Earl's a brilliant bass player. Earl and Gimme together, you know, but just lock everything down. We've got some talented people in the band, as far as I'm concerned. That's why we're still here, you know.
Well, we will be seeing you in Australia again soon. I don't know how many times this has been. It's been quite a few over the years.
Yeah, the last time we were in Australia and New Zealand, Matt Doyle was with us.
Oh, so you've already broken Matt into Australia. That's good to hear.
Yeah, he's a different class now. He's so full of confidence. You know, we now call him Matt Hollywood Doyle.
Oh, Matt Hollywood Doyle, yeah.
That's because we played the Hollywood Bowl, you know, in Los Angeles and in Hollywood, obviously. And yeah, he just came of age at that concert. It was like all his dreams came true, you know. It's such an iconic venue, and it was sold out, and it was he just kind of came alive at that show, and he's never been the same since.
We'll have to start referring to you as Robin Melbourne Campbell then. It's going to be interesting that you have to take these 45 years of classics and condense it down into one show. Things will be left out, won't they?
Of course, they always are, you know. I mean, we try to get a balance. We try to play the songs that people expect to hear, you know, the ones that they demand to hear, and mix it up with a few that they might not expect to hear, that they haven't heard for a while. We chop and change them around. And of course, we always have a new album. So we always try to play, you know, 2, 3, 4 songs off the new album if we can. But, you know, always you've got to keep in mind that your audience, the vast majority of your audience, are coming to hear the old stuff. They're coming to hear the songs they know, the songs they fell in love with, you know, or fell in love too. You know, it's a nostalgia thing for so many people, especially when you've been going as long as us. But, you know, we get 3 generations of people coming to our shows now. So we have all those people to keep happy, and you have to mix it up. But at every single show, somebody comes to me backstage and says, "You didn't play my favorite." You know, it happens every night. And of course, you can't play everybody's favorite, but you can. All you can do is try. Yeah. We've got a couple of hours, and we fill it with songs that they're going to know, hopefully, and a few new ones.
Excellent stuff. See you in 2024.
Great stuff. Can't wait.